Hello, my name is Deirdre Dillon and I am running in the local elections in Offaly. Here we are now at Clonminch Place, Tullamore, where there is purpose-built modular accommodation for 60 families, as far as we know paid for using taxpayers' money without the consent of the people of Offaly or Irish taxpayers, using secretive black budgets, i.e. endless exploitation of taxpayers. Any false claim that the EU is paying for it is code word that the Irish people are really paying for it via extortion and money laundering. Indeed, have you ever been warned that this country is the second biggest net funder of the EEC EU since 1973? Because of the deluge of undocumented foreigners entering the country unlawfully, the Irish people have no way of knowing actual genuine refugees from state-sponsored criminals, and there is obviously a deliberate tactic to cause confusion, suspicion, division and fear. As a historical background, in 1932 to 1933, 5 million and as many as 6 million Ukrainians were murdered by the communist deliberate starvation genocide, and as the Ukrainians call Holodomor. And you won't read about that in fake education school books. As a matter of interest, those who are behind the Holodomor genocide are the same ones who are behind many other genocides of both civilians and prisoners of war. For example, Armenian genocide of civilians 1915 and the Catalan massacre of disarmed prisoners of war in Poland 1943. The current murder of civilians in Palestine and many more, all featuring the false flag narcissistic framing of another enemy for being behind the genocides. Ironically, the same people who genocided so many Ukrainians in the 1930s in Holodomor are the exact same international criminals who have tricked the Ukrainians into coming here as pawns under their contrived false pretext of industrial fake wars. These people from repressed poor countries have been coaxed into a fake holiday with all sorts of fake promises, but with a nefarious agenda endgame in mind. Kevin Sharkey, artist and political activist, said the exact same in his recent excellent video, where he said that Ukrainians were misled into coming here, being told that the Irish people generally were so wealthy and affluent that they could take on guests of the state on a no-strings-attached free holiday. The poorer of the Ukrainians were surprised on arrival that the Irish were economically severely repressed by an authoritarian government. The Irish people have been robbed to give to the hapless Ukrainians and turned these many vulnerable people into dependents of the corporate state in Ireland with ill intent. I suggest that the solution to this problem would be to fully assess, then to fairly liquidate the assets of the criminal politicians, to both repay the Irish people and to pay for the repatriation of the Ukrainians to their homeland and send off the poorer ones with enough money to set themselves back up in their own home country. But also in instances where people from other countries who came here as guests of the rogue corporate state as fake UGs, these people have not come here with any noticeable injuries as a result of actual physical warfare. Then the embassies of those who come here, apart from Ukrainians who have their embassies in this country, will need to pay the Irish the compensation debts owed as a consequence of their dependent citizens here. Also, by defaulting on such payment, then claims should be put upon their land as a security to be under the territorial control of the Irish until the debt is repaid, such as to reflect the gravity of the situation. It will be interesting to hear the wild screams of those who are normally the cheerleaders of reparations. But even more seriously, the fake government here has brought in a considerable number of foreign soldiers from third world countries and has them in anywhere from hotels to military camps. In an interview in England, it was revealed they were NATO-trained soldiers. Keep in mind that the Gardaí are deeply involved in protecting these foreign soldiers as an act of high treason. Anyone who cooperates with the Gardaí, even generally, are cooperating with dangerous criminal gangs. So Gardaí indeed pose an imminent threat and danger to the safety and very lives of the Irish people. It is worthwhile mentioning that the corporate state, with great hurry, changed their laws to give special preference for the building of accommodation for non-Irish throughout the entire country. On the website of the Department of the Taoiseach, under publication Rapid Build Housing, which was published on the 4th of November 2022 and last updated on the 11th of April 2024, the planning laws which are applied to the Irish people were completely set aside, that there would not be any planning permission or informed consent required for spending public money or opportunity for any local planning objections to be heard or to be decided upon. This was extraordinary bias under false pretences and also comparably discrimination against Irish people, where it is already very well known that the government-contrived housing crisis has put great duress and hardship on Irish people to struggle with. If the Irish people are supposed to be in extraordinary debt to people in other countries, which is never fully defined, disclosed or explained, and forever intangible, pressing the button of misguided cult of feelings, and also appealing to those who are thoroughly enjoying disingenuous virtue signalling at the expense of others through decades of brainwashing. But the true facts need to be very fully disclosed to the Irish people so reckless matters can be fairly and lawfully counteracted. Clearly, the rogue government's way of avoiding objection is to avoid proper lawful consultation. Irish people are living in poverty so that criminal politicians can live in great comfort, and every time the public objects to unlawful activity or gets upset over the criminal activities of politicians, including the unlawful economic and financial conscription of the Irish people to be economically depleted, fighting fake wars for profit. The criminal politicians, with the assistance of the complicit media and the Gardaí, try to intimidate the Irish people from their scary word manual in their narcissistic book of lies. Thank you for listening. To be better able to assist you, I would require your support through you giving me your #1 vote. Looking forward to meeting you on my campaign trail and hereafter in the future. In the meantime, please see my website Deirdre-Siobhan-Dillon.net and social media links for more information and new content. Slán go fóill.